Hi everyone! It's Vanessa and Houman with another edition of Lunch With.
Yes.
No matter what time you're watching it.
Yes.
Our Lunch With today is to talk about how to describe your work history. So we're going to both discuss different parts of that. So.
Exactly. So there are a few different occasions that you might need to talk about your work history. It could be whether on your LinkedIn profile, on your CV, or whether you're meeting with a recruiter or a hiring manager directly.
So in person.
Exactly. Yeah. So whenever you want to talk about the type of companies that you work with, first of all, introduce the company that you work with, and especially if you have worked for a smaller business that not many people may know of, or a startup that not many people may know of, make sure that you describe who the company is, what is the service that they provide, and who their target market is, so that they can understand, have a great clear picture of the company that you work with. That is one of the issues that we've seen with some people, that they just have like a name of a company, but you can't tell what that company does.
And not everybody may be in the same industry. You know,
Exactly.
It might be an advertising agency in my case, and then you explain what the type of agency is and what sort of clients they have. Or if it's a corporate company, what does the corporate company do? And you know, not everybody knows everything. You as a candidate, and working there, you know so much about it, but that doesn't necessarily mean everybody else
And
does.
practice. A lot of candidates may not be able to explain what the company that they work for is, or what they do. Just practice it. Once you write it for your CV, then you know who they are and what they offer. Unless you work for an extremely well-known company within your industry, then in that case you may not need to explain. But if not, then definitely describe what the company was.
And then next to that is to describe what your role is. And again, you know, just writing your title, that doesn't necessarily mean everybody knows exactly what that title is. So a little description on your role, the team that you worked with. I mean, if you are coming from a big company, I mean, say it's like Google or something like that, you need to say what part of the team at Google you worked at. Is it the marketing team? Is it the finance team? Is it the whatever it may be, development team, whatever, but to actually describe the team that you worked in. And your responsibilities, what your responsibilities were in that role. You know, sometimes, and especially again, this is in smaller companies, some people take on bigger roles. It may be, you may have a title there, but you actually encompass a lot of things and you do a lot of things. So I think that's really important to talk about the responsibilities in that job title or in that role that you had.
Exactly, and one of the things I've noticed is that because it has been your job for a while, some parts of your job has become so repetitive that you may not even mention it, but the truth is that it is quite important for the hiring manager or for the recruiter to hear them. For example, if you go to a large organization and you're meeting with the HR manager, they may not necessarily know what were the details of your work. So feel free to expand on those details, like tell that I was involved in doing so and so from start to finish, or which part of the project you were responsible to where, and what your day-to-day job was. That will give them an idea of what your skill sets are, and that will help them I understand what is it that you're bringing to their company.
Yeah, it's a really good point actually, because you do forget that things that you do every single day, like managing somebody's time or managing something, you may think it's not that big of a deal, and you would have to be doing it anyway. But to explain, you know, we've had to ask that question, do you manage this or do you do this? Yeah, of course, of course, but it may not be that logical, it may not be that easy.
Exactly, because different places have different structures, and people like with the same job title have totally different responsibilities in different companies. I do have situations that I meet, for example, let's just say someone who's a user experience designer, and they say my role was to do user experience, and then I was like, okay, which part did you come in and which part did you hand it out to the next person? So it's important to explain every single step that you've been involved in, and some organizations do provide they do a lot of research, and some organizations don't do. So if you've been involved in the research, then you expand upon that.
And it may sound simple to you, and everybody should know it, but that's not the case.
And if you're going for a job and they have key selection criteria, of course you have to make sure that you cover those with your responsibilities. Don't assume that they know. that the
Yeah.
person across the room would know. And then the other thing that is really important is to talk about your achievement.
Yeah.
First of all, what did you contribute to the company when you were there? And because of you, what did you achieve there? Whether it is the achievements you made for the company and the achievements you gained personally. Like, did you learn a specific new skill, new knowledge, or learn about a new market or something new? And then what have you achieved for the company? Definitely mention those. It's quite helpful because you could have a lot of responsibilities, but if you don't do them well, what's the point? Yeah.
And I think also with those achievements, they can be job related or they can just be work related. Like I remember somebody came in and said they started up the local, football team in the office with everybody. I mean, that's not nobody's job description, but to actually achieve that and people regularly exercise or get together on a Friday and do something, I mean, that's great. That's an achievement.
Yeah,
so
it can show how you can contribute to a company, like culturally contribute to a company.
Doesn't have to be part of your job role that of what you've achieved. You can go above and beyond that.
So in order for someone to be able to, in your opinion, when they want to go to a meeting to be prepared, what should they do?
Practice, 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 practice.
Practice it. Write it down and practice what you've written down so that it becomes part of your thinking, so it comes naturally to you, so you can talk about your experience.
And you know what? Practice on your friends and family that may not know exactly what you do, because if that's the best people to actually practice on, because they'll either understand it or they won't.
Yeah.
And the types of questions that they ask will help you then develop what you need to get across to somebody that may not know what you do.
That's a really good suggestion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, practice.
Ask the next door neighbour.
Yes, if they don't know what your industry is, if you explain it to them and they understand it, then you've done
Then
a
that's
good
great.
job.
You've done
Yes.
a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
As usual, if you have any specific questions that you would like us to cover, feel free to message us. We're always interested to hear about your thoughts. Email us or contact us, and we look forward to hearing you at the next lunch with Vanessa and Houman. Have a great day. Bye.